Hello, my name is Steve Page. I'm the Treated Business Development Manager for Allweather Wood, and we'd like to welcome you to our webinar on preservative treated wood and the International Building Codes. This presentation is copyrighted under Allweather Wood, LLC. So a little history about Allweather Wood. We began our operations in 1985 in Washougal, Washington with one treating plant. Through the years, we've grown and we now operate 5 wood preservative treating plants along with lumber manufacturing and distribution facilities in locations in California, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington. Our capabilities include high-speed incisors, custom pre-staining, multiple preservatives that can treat multiple species, and third-party quality control inspection accordance with AWPA standards. Allweather Wood now ranks as the largest waterborne preservative treated lumber and plywood manufacturer in the Western U.S. For more information on our company, you can visit our website at www.allweatherwood.com for information including resources, SDS sheets, preservatives, preservative treated wood safety, usages, and a current list of our stocking dealers. In this presentation, we're going to deal with applications where wood is exposed to moisture, insects, fungal organisms, and where preservative treated wood can help ensure durability. By the time you've completed this presentation, you should be able to understand a little bit better where preservative treated wood is required by the International Building Code, the IBC, as an approved part of the American Wood Protection Association, the AWPA, the U1 standard, and the use category standards. Understand product quality control marking labels and AWPA end tags, select the right fasteners, and understand the importance of field treating. To understand third-party inspection agencies and ICC and ESR reports, as well as get answers to commonly asked questions. So let's start with building codes and treated wood. So when we look at building codes, we understand that the International Building Code, or the IBC, is the tool that is to preserve public health and safety for the building industry. They provide safeguards from hazards associated with the built environment. They address design and installation of innovative materials that meet or exceed public health and safety goals. The AWPA, otherwise known as the American Wood Preservatives Association or Protection Agency, is the governing agency that oversees production of treated wood and products and their end uses. The AWPA works in conjunction with various building code agencies in writing the standards to assure preservative treated wood products are properly produced, specified, and meet the building codes in the U.S. for residential and commercial application. They determine if the preservative is effective and can be listed in the standards. They also work to establish how much preservative is needed retention-wise, depending on the exposure and the end use. The industry is always seeking to minimize chemical use through lower retentions, but still give you a product that works and conforms to these building standards. So under the IBC rules, there's treated wood that's used for above ground. In this above ground application, the designation would fall under Chapter 23 wood. These sections include 2304.12.11 through, as you can see, 2304.121.5. So under the AWPA designation for this classification, you'd have UC1, which would be interior dry application, again, above ground. UC2, interior damp application, meaning that can have exposure to some dampness, but still interior-wise. UC3A, above ground, protected, meaning it's coated, it could be trim and those kind of things. And UC3B, above ground, exposed to the elements. So wood used in above ground in all locations to guard against the risk for termites, rot, and decay. Wood used in above ground shall be of naturally durable wood or a listed preservative treated wood using waterborne preservatives in accordance with AWPA U1 use categories, as we just mentioned, UC1, 2, 3, A, and B. So some of the applications for these would be joists, girders, subfloors, laminated products, decking, mudsill railings, furring strips, studs, and all preservative treated wood used for interior applications. The next category in this would be wood used for ground contact or freshwater contact. So as you can see under the 2018 IBC, again, that falls under Chapter 23 Wood. And those sections listed there would be 2304 12.3 through 2304 12.5. Again, under the AWPA designation, this category would be UC4A, ground contact general use, and UC4B, ground contact heavy duty use. Wood in contact with the ground or freshwater where rot, decay, and termites pose a risk that are favorable to deterioration fall under AWPA U1 use categories UC4A and B. UC4A, for instance, would be ground contact, freshwater contact, non-critical components exposed to all weathering cycles. The applications would be sawn fence, deck post, joist beams, and freshwater docks, to name a few. You fall into the heavier category, it'd be UC4B, that would be ground contact, freshwater, and saltwater splash. These components would be critical components exposed to weather cycles, but are hard to replace items. So general applications would be agricultural pole barn, support posts, permanent wood foundations, retaining walls, cribbing, lagging, docks, and saltwater splash applications. So building code reference. So WWPI, the Western Wood Preservatives Institute, publishes a preserved wood and international building code specification guide, as you can see listed here. They reference on the 2018 International Building Code, the specifications, the use categories. They also include fastener information and things that give you a general overview of how preserved wood fits into the International Building Code and vice versa. This is available on a download through www.preservewood.org and www.piinstitute.org. A great tool and reference guide for building code reference and cross-referencing to treated products. So what to look for on product quality marks. These are items that will let you identify what you're looking for when it comes to treated wood and the International Building Codes. So if we're looking at the IBC and the AWPA, there's a product quality control end tag. And preservative treated wood shall bear a quality control inspection agency, which has been accredited through the American Lumber Standards Committee, or ALSC, that complies with the requirements of the treated wood program or equivalent. So this picture shows some end tags. Here's an example of what an end tag looks like. So you can see this is an IBC AWPA end tag or stamp. They can either be end tagged or they can be stamped. In today's treated industry, it's about 50-50. Some plants run a stamp on this and some run end tags. Just depends on how your plant is set up. But what you're going to see here is this is the ID and the proper information as to how it complies and conforms to AWPA and the IBC. So the first thing you're going to see is there'll be a brand name or logo, and that will be, for instance, it could be Nature Wood as a brand name, and it would show above ground use, AWPA standards U1, which is the general use category, and then it defines the actual use category, which is UC3B, that would be exterior exposed to the weather. It shows the accredited ALSC agency logo, third-party check mark, the preservative type, which would be copper azole type C, as you can see with CAC, the retention level, 0.06 pounds per cubic feet. That's the retention level for the UC3B. And then, of course, the wood preserving plant that actually manufactured this. So, for instance, it could say Allweather Wood, White City, Oregon, as an example, or whatever it may be at the treating plant and the preservative and the species where you're buying your product. So under the IBC and the AWP, there's a fasteners and field treating and specification guide, and this will deal with those specs and fasteners and field treating. So IBC AWPA fastener requirements are for treated wood, as you can see under Section 23 Wood again, IBC Section 2304 9.5. Fasteners, including nuts, washers, in contact with preservative treated wood shall be of hot dipped, zinc-coated galvanized steel, stainless steel, silicon bronze, or copper. And of course, the circumstances where that's going to be applied is going to determine what or one of those fastener requirements that you're going to adhere to. We always recommend that it's always best to check with your building code official as well. So with one exception, plain carbon steel can be used for fasteners, and borate, or SPX DOT is the designation for zinc borate preservative treated wood for interior dry environments shall be permitted. Again, we always recommend checking with your local building department on that. Fastener reference. Again, WWPI puts out a fastener to use with preservative wood. This is a recommendation across the board for all preservative woods and the fastening recommendations to those applications. So you can download this again at WWPI Preserve Tech. They do publications for PDFs on anything that has to do with treated wood and fasteners, information, and guide handling. So this is a fastener one, and you can do this at preservewood.org or WWPI institute.org. Great tool and a great reference guide to send out for submittals. Field treating. This is one thing we probably don't talk enough about, but we should talk a lot more. End cuts for preservative treated wood must be field treated to meet building codes. This guards against attack, fungal decay, and termite attack, and also for the exposed part of the wood. You don't want to put an exposed part of the wood in the ground or leave it on top of a post where it can be attacked by moisture and cause rot and decay. The International Building Code has a requirement for field treating. End cuts, notches, drilled holes of preservative treated wood shall be treated in accordance with AWPA standards M4. M4 is the standard for the care of preservative treated woods. This standard prescribes the requirement for care of treated wood that would include handling, storage, field treating, field fabrication, and the management of treated wood products in general. Anything that's custom fabricated where a project comes up where it needs to have holes, notches, and any cutting should be done prior to the treatment process, giving the assurance that all areas of the product have been treated properly under a pressure process. Here's a list of field treating products that are available in the field through lumber yards, lumber dealers, local do-it-yourself home centers. So for instance, you'll see on here, there's Tenile copper naphthalate, 2% oil-based. And if you go down the line, probably the one that's the most general is the copper green that we use for brown and stained preservative treated wood, and one for green and wood life. Those are probably the most general ones you're going to see in the market for field treating. And as recommended, those products are required to end coat the wood as noted. Again, there's also a publication on field treating, another reference that WWPI puts out under Preserve Tech. It's a guidance for properly field treating preservative treated wood products. It's available as a download through preservewood.org or wwpiinstitute.org. Again, another great resource when dealing with somebody who needs a PDF, needs to understand a little bit better on what field treating requirements are. So let's deal with the inspection agencies that handle treated wood for the International Building Codes. So here's a list of some of them, and we'll start with Timber Products Inspection. Timber Products Inspection Bureau is a laboratory accredited agency through the International Service IAS and the American Lumber Standards Committee ALSC. TPI has been providing quality inspections for forest products industry for over 50 years. Their expertise includes engineered wood products, export packaging products like the ISPM 15, which is used for export products going overseas, glulam, log homes, panels, plywoods, as you can see, trusses, heated wood, lumber grading, including transient wood, pellets, and utility poles. Timber Products Inspection has their own website. They're a great resource and a great tool to have on hand. They also come in and do plant inspections and do overviews on the proper guidance and reference to treated wood and the use categories, and work with AWPA and WWPI. Another inspection process would be Southern Pine Inspection Bureau. They were formed in 1950, and they provided a common set of grading standards for the wood industry. The SPIB Treated Wood Quality Audit Program provides customized third-party quality control programs to help preservative treated wood producers meet the standards, approved AWPA standards. SPIB works with preservative manufacturers to provide consistent, accurate inspection data to improve quality control, meet building code specifications, enhance service life, and promote the industry's sustainability. SPIB offers audit services for visually graded lumber, grade marks, mechanically graded lumber, glued lumber, heat-treated, export KD certificates, etc., as well as treated wood auditing and inspection services. Again, you can reach them or review them at spib.org.resources. The ICC-ES, this is a valuation reporting company that does, and it's a non-profit company that does technical evaluations of building products, components, methods, and materials. The ICC-ES issues technical reports that address code compliances. The reports are extremely useful to both regulatory agencies and building product manufacturers. The ICC-ES evaluation reports are public documents. They're available free of charge to building regulators, manufacturers, architects, contractors, engineers, and other specifiers. And you can go into their website and download ICC-ES.org and get reports on particular products, particular manufacturers' products, and updates as well. Again, for submittals when those may pop up. So here's some common questions that pop up and some answers to those common questions. So what is code compliant preservative treated wood? Well, in general, basically what that means is AWPA standards are listed directly in the major model building codes. So the IRC is the International Residential Code, and again, the IBC is the International Building Codes, where preservative treated wood is required. So preservative treated wood products are produced to AWPA standards, are code compliant. There's an alternative acceptance criteria, and evaluation reports are available through the ICC-ES that we just discussed. Caution though, not all preservative treated wood is produced under AWPA standards, so always look for the third-party check mark and the accredited agency. Are inspectors up to date on wood preserving information? And the answer is generally yes. However, the wood preservative treated industry should always strive to communicate changes and updates in a timely manner to these officials. Inspectors should know what to look for as far as end tags and treated stamp, which lets them know what products meet certain building code approvals and their requirements. Code approved preservative treated wood products will have an AWPA use category system noted on the end tag, as we discussed previously, along with the preservative type and the plant ID number. Any additional labeling to look for when choosing code compliant preservative treated products? Again, that's a compliance with AWPA and the LSC inspection check mark for quality control on the end tags. These end tags will also include, as we discussed, exposure conditions, the use category system, the preservative type, the retention levels, and the identification of the treating plant. Third-party inspections are completed randomly by the ALSC, the American Lumber Standard Committee, and accredited agencies such as TPI, SPIB, and others. These inspection tests at each plant preservative treated stock are in conformance to AWPA standards. Thank you, and this concludes the Allweather Wood presentation, Preservative Treated Wood and the International Building Codes.